give me a
Chef
good
de Cave?
reputation.
Casenave, Chef de Cave?
No, I'm not Chef de Cave. The Chef de Cave is Dominique de Marville.
Okay.
We are 8 winemakers.
I thought maybe you knocked Dominic off and it was now you were the head guy. But no, Dominic is still there?
No, he's still alive. So.
Still alive? Okay, that's what happens in Champagne. You have to die before somebody gets your job, right?
I don't know. It's less than 10 Chef de Cave. So the life expectancy is more than 25 years.
25 years. Yeah. So how long do you have to wait to become Chef de Cave now?
I'm done. It will be impossible for me.
It's impossible for you? All right, hello wine drinking people. It's time for a special segment of What I Drank Yesterday. We've got a special guest here, one of the winemakers for Veuve Clicquot Champagne House, Pierre Casenave.
I joined Veuve Clicquot when it was in 2008. So I think I'm spoiled and lucky guy. I joined the team with Dominique de Marville, who is the chef de cave, the captain of the boat. And I'm in charge with the vinification of the Chardonnay, quality control of the cork. So I go often to the Portugal and Spain to check the quality of the cork. Cork is very important. So we collect the cork.
Not going to screw cap anytime soon with champagne?
I'm not against, but for Veuve Clicquot, no. I don't think so.
Okay, good.
What I do is, during the harvest, I take care of all the Chardonnay at Vertu, in south of La Côte des Blancs.
Okay.
And after I do wine communication.
So you do all the Chardonnay. So what we have in front of us here is rosé. So you're not responsible for this at all?
I mean, 30% of all I want. I've got a minimum of 30% of Chardonnay.
So you're responsible for 30%.
I'm responsible for the freshness.
The freshness. Okay, well, it's a unique position, I guess.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Champagne, there's not any other winemakers I can think of that are responsible for 30% of the wine.
Yeah, but we're all involved in the blending process.
But you're all involved when it comes down to blending.
At the community testing, we are 8 winemakers. So it's a kind of democracy testing.
Okay.
Which is great. I mean, the vote of Dominique, for instance, the big boss, is exactly the same as mine.
Okay.
But after, he takes a big decision concerning, for instance, the reserve wine and the percentage and stuff. There is one captain on boat.
There's one captain. You have to have a captain, and hopefully he doesn't jump off when it starts to sink, right? This is France and not Italy. We got 4 rosé champagnes in front of us here. We got the 2004 vintage rosé. We've got the 1998 Veuve Clicquot La Grande rosé, the 1985 Veuve Clicquot rosé vintage, and the 1978 Veuve Clicquot vintage rosé. And the difference between these 4, obviously we have different levels of price, so we have different priced champagnes here.
Yeah.
And then we also have different levels of, I guess you would say, freshness. Champagnes that are meant to be drank younger, champagnes that are meant to be aged.
Yeah, it depends on your taste as well. For instance, the 2004, of course, is going to be more on the fruit side, on the fruitiness.
So when you make it, you're thinking, we're going to make this more as a fruity style rosé as opposed to one that's going to be aged like the 78.
Yeah, I mean, when we make a vintage, the common characteristic of all vintages is made to age at least up to 20 years. Let's say that. But after, it depends on the taste of the consumer. I prefer perhaps to be more on the fruit side. You will taste it when it's quite young, like 2004. And if he's looking for something a bit different, you will go for Carte Privée 78, something special. Basically, the old vintages, they've got like 2/3 Pinot Noir, because we mainly Pinot Noir, 1/3 Chardonnay, and a small touch of Pinot Meunier.
Just a small touch of Pinot Meunier, and that's pretty much the blend for all the rosés.
All the vintages, except for La Grande, because La Grande just comes from all the Grand Cru, so there is no Grand Cru in Pinot Meunier, so it's 2/3 Pinot Noir, 1/3 Chardonnay for La Grande.
So no Pinot Meunier.
In La Grande, no Pinot Meunier.
This is the current release of rosé, the 2000.
Yeah, it's the last that we got on the new one on the market is 2004. It's already 8 years old, but yes, I mean, I think that it depends on what you eat as well.
We're not having anything to eat right now, but it's making me hungry. I can tell you, after this tasting, I'm going to be ready to have something to eat.
This one, for me, coming from a bit of Spain, because I'm half Spanish, this is very good for tapas, jamón ibérico.
Oh, we got one hanging out there. That's a good suggestion.
Oh, that's very good.
Let's get Steven to whack us off a few pieces of that ham on ibérico and see
I
if
can tell you, it's
very nice.
The perfect match. It's good with tartare of tuna, beef carpaccio, langoustine with chorizo. Second rosé is a La Grande.
La Grande.
Special, because we just use a red wine coming from a small block called Clos Colin. It's amazing. I mean, if you go to the winery and you test all the tanks, even if someone doesn't know anything about wine, you just can realize immediately that this one is different because it's very rich. Like sometimes you find with Pomerol, very velvety. There is no aggressivity. Last year we made to let you inform, 600 bottles of Coteau Champenois for personal consumption coming from this block.
600 personal consumption, 600 bottles. So what are those just for the people at Veuve Clicquot that come to visit?
Oh, we share. We're not selfish. So we share. If you come, I'm ready to test. Don't worry.
Excellent.
To test. The house has been created a long time ago in 1772. We've got a long history, and I just wanted to show you a bit about the label and the meaning of the label. We graved on the bottle of La Grande, for instance, the anchor, because she was the first woman to export wine by boat, and you know that we discovered some bottle under the Baltic Sea in a shipwreck. There was an auction. The first bottle has been sold for $50,000.
Wow! So the La Grande is just Grand Cru vineyard, so there's no Pinot Meunier in it. Yeah, and the same blend though as the 2004 vintage, a selection of finer grapes because it's all Grand Cru.
I mean, 2004 is a selection of around 20 Premier and Grand Cru. And La Grande is a homage to the Grey Lady, so we just use Grand Cru. 5 Grand Cru for Pinot Noir and 3 Grand Cru for Chardonnay.
And the Grande Dame, Madame Clicquot, widow of 27 years, took over the house. It was founded in 1772. This is one of the landmark properties in Champagne. So an honor to probably work with one of the great chef de caves there, even if we don't have the chance of becoming one because of the long life of the chef de cave. And the way you make rosé champagne, you can blend red and white champagnes together.
Yeah, that's correct. That's the only appellation where you are allowed to do this way. And it's true that what is very good to do using the blending method is that you can adjust exactly the level of percentage of red wine. Like this, you reach exactly the rosé you want to get.
There's not many people that use the other technique, which is the Saignée technique.
There are.
Oh, there's still people doing that.
There are many.
Many, okay.
It's different. The style is different.
Style is very different.
Don't criticize about the blending process.
How would you describe the style of rosé, Veuve Clicquot's rosé?
We do a blended rosé. That means that we blend red wine coming from Bouzy, which is the best part of the vineyard. You know, they do Coteau Champenois in Bouzy. But we'll say that you can see the color of the 2004 is very intense, very impacted by the Pinot Noir, obviously. You can even feel the tannins on the gums.
That's one of the reasons I like rosé better. You do get a little tannin in the rosé champagnes, which you don't get in the blanc versions of champagne. And I don't know. To me, Veuve Clicquot is a more full-bodied style of rosé. It's a richer style.
Of course, yes.
And I think that's the style of the house too. That's why Veuve Clicquot has become so popular. We like things that are really rich in this country. And, you know, the yellow label Veuve is a very rich style and full-bodied, as the rosé is. And then when you would compare it to a different rosé like a Billecart Saumon,
which is good.
Which is very good, but maybe a little lighter style, a little fresher.
Yeah, it's as you said, the style is totally different. This one we are known to be quite powerful, very intense in especially 2004. I mean, it's full of fruit, a bit of black fruit, a bit of red fruit as well, cherry, strawberry. It's very bit of Burgundy style. You've got this big influence of the Pinot Noir. And again, like you said, rich in the mouth, but the tannins, they're very gentle. There is no aggressivity, no greenness, no bitterness. So we try to be very careful concerning the level of extraction.
The next champagne we have here, this is the 1985.
Yeah, that's correct.
So wow, look at the color on this. And you really start to notice one of the things I like in old champagnes in this. That's that earthy, kind of mushroomy character.
Yeah,
when champagnes get old, they really get this exotic, truffly, earthy, mushroomy, which to me is really, really nice. Some people would smell it and go, it smells like dirt. I don't like that, but I've come to like dirt a little more in my old age. And
you know, since I work in luxury, I become a bit snobbish, so now I don't say mushrooms, it's truffles.
Truffles, yeah. You want to use a sexy mushroom if you're going to use a mushroom to describe it.
I will say mushroom. But you can pick up a bit of moisture that we found in a cave. But when it's not too much, when at the right doses, it brings some kind of complexity, and as you said, it's delicious. Earthiness as well. Sometimes you pick up that in Pinot Noir in Burgundy, for instance. And I love it. I mean,
we really need some food with this. I think when champagne gets to be this old, you really start to notice it.
If you got a Rosquell or a Pheasant,
with some foie gras in there.
Of course, foie gras would be great. And it's still in the mouth. As you said, we are more
lovely creaminess. Yeah. You don't really notice the effervescence in these old champagnes, but they still have a little bit of that tongue-tingly, effervescence. And the minerality, though, is more what I notice on the back of my palate after I swallow it.
especially the 85, as you said. I think more this one is very impacted by the choke.
Still some really nice fruit though. I mean, well, some fruit. I wouldn't say nice fruit like this 2004. This is what most people drink when they drink champagne. If you give most people the 85, I think they might be a little disappointed if they're expecting this and they get that. And then the 78, this is a real treat right here.
That's
this
something.
is Flavio's birth year. You get a little toffee in this too, a little caramel starting to come out with that.
You got a bit of, I don't know how to say it, réglisse, and a bit of, it's toasty, smoky as well.
And a little toasty smokiness, yeah.
And the mouth is very rich. And you will see when you're going to get a bit warmer, you're going to develop even more flavors. We talk sometimes about complexity, but this one is really complex. I mean, it's something huge. I mean,
I've become a bigger fan of old wines. Maybe not as big of a fan as some people are, but I mean, I have to say, this is the champagne I'm going to grab every night if I'm coming home to have a glass of champagne. There's that freshness, that fruitiness that's still in the wine. This wine is a treat to have with people that really enjoy fine wine, and you want to sit down and have a meal with this wine, because if you just sit and drink it in the next 15-20 minutes like you would do with this 04, you really don't get all the nuance out of an old wine like this. What's the difference in how you age these different champagnes on release? You disgorge them at different times. Obviously the 2004 disgorged much younger than the 78, which was disgorged.
Yeah, the 78 was a bit specific because we made it for Cab Privé, for specialists like you or people who are looking something different. So we mentioned the date of disgorgement. The number of bottles is around 2,000, so it's more details, but yes, for specialists.
I like to keep champagne, all night. When I go to a tasting or a dinner or something where they serve you a nice champagne, I like to keep it just like you would a wine, to watch it open up after the course of 2 or 3 hours. And I find older champagnes also develop this nuance in this bouquet that is just incredible.
And you have to increase a bit the temperature when you serve.
And that's another thing, we're not serving champagne in champagne flutes. These are tasting glasses.
I prefer these wine glasses.
I got a big nose, so I can get my nose in this a little better. But you really miss some of the subtle nuance in the bouquet in champagne if you serve it in a flute. So you're right. Yeah, until it really warms up, you don't get a lot of that subtle nuance, anyways. But thank you very much for coming out today.
It's my pleasure.
Appreciate it. And anytime you guys want to come by and start my day with champagne, I'm up for it. Thanks for coming out. Remember, folks, always drink the good stuff first.
Welcome to Veuve Clicquot.